The US government claims that this is one of the most dangerous parts in Mexico. And they're not 100% incorrect, but as usual, there is absolutely government propaganda along with that. As you can mention Mexico to people, and people will assume that people are being beheaded on the street everywhere you go, and it's just violence on every corner. And in many cities, and I would say a lot of cities in Mexico, are actually safer than some of the most dangerous places in the United States. And I feel that way about Morelia. I can walk out right now and I can see parents taking their kids to school and people walking their dog, and we go to the gym. My life isn't in any danger on a daily basis. I'm just fine. But that doesn't mean that those things don't exist in Mexico. But and it's funny you mentioned it to your Mexican friends, because same thing, even some of our Mexican friends are like, "Whoa, you live in Michoacan? It's pretty wild out there." I'm like, "It's actually not that wild." And the other reason though that I love this area, which again, I never had been out here before. The interesting thing is actually written articles about Michoacan years ago in my journalism, talking about the auto defensas and how different communities were rising up and pushing back against the cartels and pushing back against the corrupted government. So that's another big inspiration for us. But the other thing is that this is where the vast majority of the farms are as well. This is, beautiful region. Not only it's the de la Mezcal, so there's mezcal out here, agave being grown everywhere, avocado state as well. Yep. And there's so many farms. So we have access to, like I was talking about, farmers markets. There's so many people growing all kinds of food here. And where the United States has pretty much outsourced most of their farming except for California and then some GMO crops in the Midwest, Mexico is very rich, especially in this area, in terms of food production and food wealth. And that is important, I think, having that food security. And then in addition to that, the more time we spend here, we've just got to connect with other people who are similarly minded, Mexicans who are focused on organic food, who have local seed banks, and who are naturally living in the counter economy, because a lot of Latin America, including Mexico, uses cash on a regular basis. Many people don't pay taxes just because that's just what they do. They're not agorists or anarchists necessarily, but they're already doing it. And so again, that goes back to how Konkin thought. But if we can help people understand that there's actually strength and power in that, then we can come together and build this alternative. And that means if and when the government's currency collapses, whether it's pesos or dollars or euros or whatever, we can be in a position at least where we won't be as impacted because we won't be dependent on those systems.